Hi friends, it's Tuesday, July 15th, 2014. Lynn and Jamie here, continuing our assignment in the D.C. area. Based on this morning's meditation, my understanding of our assignment for the day is to continue our work on helping ourselves as collections of cells, helping the individual cells, helping all the cells in the biosphere and all the cells in the universe learn to live on eternal light. Eternal light is unlimited, and when we learn, we as cells, collections of cells, biospheres and galaxies learn to live on eternal light, then the feelings of needing to beat our neighbors to the good stuff because there's only so much good stuff to go around, those feelings go away, and we can come to live in harmony with each other much more quickly. So, the goal: live on eternal light. Now it begins. There we go. So how many of us are in fact holding on to this attitude of, I'll let go of my food when you pry it from my cold, dead fingers? Right?
Right.
And what could that in fact result in?
Having cold, dead fingers earlier.
Having cold, dead fingers when there's no need to have cold, dead fingers. Not that there's anything wrong with death. We're all going to die. Death is a wonderful experience. However, it makes it harder to do our work in the world, right?
Right.
Right. If we've come to Earth to fulfill a purpose, and we have instead cold, dead fingers, well then, we're not really fulfilling our destiny, are we?
No.
No. No. So, now, there are other ways of letting go of it. Let's just start to pull it out structurally, just hand over hand. Not just the cells sitting on this couch, right? But all the cells throughout the biosphere. We can invite them to join us in a Channels Up exercise. And what I see is so beautiful. It's some kind of flower that has a droopy head, and the sun comes up and the flower raises its head. It looks like the movement of a sunflower, but it doesn't look like a sunflower to me. They look like bluebells that hang down, and it's like a miracle seeing the bluebells lift their heads like sunflowers. Some of them are looking up, and some of them are stubbornly, like, kind of arguing. No, I don't want to. I'm a bluebell. Bluebells are supposed to look down. They have little bluebell voices. They're arguing in little bluebell voices. And others are just looking up, proving that bluebells can totally look up, right?
Right.
And I see other beds of bluebells. It's funny. It looks like a physical human bed. It's like physical human beds, like mattress sheet, you know? But it's a collection of bluebells lying on it. And so it just looks like a human-shaped field of bluebells. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And then there's this one of these huge rooms that has a ceiling and a floor and no walls, beds as far as the eye can see. All of them collections of bluebells. Tap, 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 tap goes the baton. Some of the bluebells look up. So ancient enemies, quote unquote, walking in harmony. Because when we look up, we realize there's plenty of resources. We don't have to be stealing from each other, right?
Right.
Ancient rivals can now put down their guns and put down their plowshares too, for that matter, right?
Right.
And can just look up. Just look up. Channels up, channels up, channels up. And now it's changing into that Coke commercial from the 60s or 70s. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony.
Yeah.
And the ancient rivals, which in this case are depicted, well, first initially were depicted as cowboys and Native Americans, but now seems to be transforming into all kinds of long-term rivals. For example, there are clearly people who are from Northern Ireland here, and there are clearly people from the Middle East here. clearly many long-term rivals, all walking around in a circle, looking up. And so the guides are saying, what are they doing? Looks to me like they're walking a vortex. They go, that's right. And they're learning to get their channels up. That's right. And they're learning to keep strong, upward rising earth energy. That's right. And they're going to get ready to learn to merge with each other. Oh. So we start with tap, tap, tap at the cellular level. Channels up at the cellular level. And I see the beds of bluebells. Tap, 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 speaking to the cells themselves. Tap, tap, tap. Now I see, it's beds of people who don't take care of their bodies. Obese people and people who smoke and people who don't exercise, etc. Right?
Right.
People who are not caring for their bodies in any kind of rational way. Right?
Right.
So we're going to bypass the governing, the government of that collection of cells. Right?
Right.
And start talking to the cells themselves. It's like a grassroots movement, right?
Right.
A grassroots movement of well-being. We'll talk to all the cells, calling to the cells of the biosphere, and saying, come on, friends, we can do it. We don't have to wait for our government to do it for us, right?
Right.
Waiting for the committee of me to decide to put channels up might take several lifetimes, right?
Right.
Come on, friends. I'm speaking to the cells. Come on, friends. We can all put our channels up. We don't have to wait for our government to do it. Find your intuitive channels and draw them up right out the top of your head. Open up the top of your head like a funnel so that nourishment can come in, so that well-being can come in, so that the eternal light can come in into the cell. It's like the cells look kind of raisiny, and now they're starting to plump up. The cells are suddenly looking less like bluebells and more like raisin people.
Yeah.
And they're singing, heard it through the grapevine. Heard it through the grapevine, but they're dancing a grapevine. It's a dance movement too, right?
Yeah.
It's a song, it's a dance movement.
They're making big puns.
They're making big puns about grapes, and the raisins are dancing, and they're starting to open up their heads, and the ones that manage to open up their heads look really surprised. Their faces get surprised. They go, oh, and pop into grapes. So they pop into grapes and then look surprised, but the surprise and the grape popping is happening. Oh, and then they're walking around, rubbing their big fat grape bellies, looking very full, like pregnant women do.
Yeah.
And the other raisins are looking confused.
Yeah.
How do they look? Happy. Really happy. They don't understand what happened.
No.
I think it all happened through grace. Grape grace.
Grape grace.
Grape grace. So, playing some grace cards for some grape grace. A round of grape grace at this table, and this is a really long table. This might be the table of the Biosphere. It's a really long table. Can't see the ends of the tables.
Yeah.
And it's like calling the waitress and saying, I'm buying a round for the table, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm playing my grace cards, a round of grape grace for the table. The table of the Biosphere. Now it's like the rain has started, and it's a natural rain. It's like a sprinkling, gentle rain, but it's rain, right? Is it just me? Do you perceive that it started raining
like
in
rain.
here? It's raining. Living waters on this whole table, holding strong upward flow, holding strong upward flow. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. The living waters, the rain of living waters, falling on all of us, and it looks like we're starting to swell up like raisins would when rained on, you know?
Yeah.
Guides say, what do I know about Beethoven's Sixth Symphony? Well, I only know what I think about it, what I feel about it. They say, well, give it a shot. Well, at first, it's about normal life. Kind of sounds like or feels like people out for a ride in their carriage, in horse and carriage. Beethoven lived a while ago, you know? Normal life. People out for a ride in their horse and carriage. And then they're caught in a terrible storm. And they're afraid. But the storm passes. And the sun comes out again. Life goes on. Life goes on. Some way or another, life does always go on, in body or out of it. We're eternal beings on an eternal growth path. We're never done growing. Storms come and go. They do. But sometimes storms are necessary to wash away the dust of the road. When the dust accumulates too thickly to the point that we can no longer see our way, then the storms must come to wash away the dirt, right?
Right.
So when we as civilization have lost our way, have gotten too much dirt caked on, and it looks like crusted food now. It no longer looks like dirt. It looks like baked on food that's unidentifiable, been there so long, baked on so hard, can't tell what it was at one point, but now it's just crusted on unidentifiable brownish food. Well, then we need a good scrubbing, don't we?
Yeah.
We're in that big, big, big room again. Just the ceiling, just the floor, big room to eternity. And I see many fewer beds. I see a lot of empty spaces where beds used to be. Many fewer beds. But the beds that are left, the Bluebells, the collections of Bluebells, are sitting up. They're sitting up. They're not lying on beds anymore. And within the collection, some Bluebells are looking up and looking happy, and other Bluebells are looking down and looking grumpy.
Yeah.
The baton is tapping again. I hear the baton tap, tap, tap. Okay, come on, friends, all the Bluebells. Merging with our own Bluebells, merging with our Bluebells, coming to know what it is to be our own Bluebells, right?
Right.
Merging right in with our own Bluebells. Suddenly feeling our own beds beneath us, right?
Right.
Our own Bluebells. Come on, we can do it. Let's do it. Some of them start to go up right away. Wow. Channels up to our guides. Tap, tap, tap. Draw the focus up to the guides. Tap, tap, tap. Draw the focus up so that when the rain comes we can collect the living waters, right?
Right.
When our channels are out, will we collect any living waters when the rains come?
No.
No, because there's nothing to catch it. The cups are pointed outward rather than upward, right? There's a Pooh Bear voice that's saying, tut tut, it looks like rain. Tut tut, it looks like rain. Hi, Pooh Bear. What does Pooh Bear represent? Something comforting from childhood, right?
Right.
A comfort. Tut tut, it looks like rain. It's a free will universe. But if you aren't looking up and one drop falls, you'll miss it.
Yeah.
That was selfish, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was just working here in the physical dimension, wasn't I?
Yeah.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy. So tut-tut, all of the deeper dimensions. Wow. Merging with the deeper dimensions as well. Wow. Whoa. Here we go. Channels up in the deeper dimensions. But again, my focus is too narrow. The guides say, what are you doing? I realize I'm only doing it in the present moment. That's craziness. Moving into the past. Merging into the past. Wow. In the past of the deeper dimensions. And here it looks like the Bluebells, well, at least one Bluebell is big and mechanical. I don't know if it's a real Bluebell or I can't quite tell. Do you see that huge mechanical bluebell looking thing?
Yeah.
Well, I know that we can just ratchet it upward, right? It looks like a sculpture almost, modern art almost. Just get this modern art installation piece, ratchet it upward, right? To open up. I'm only maybe less than 1,000 years. Check me on that.
Yeah.
Way too shallow and way too recent. So let's go another dimension down. Oh. And farther back in the past. 2,000 years. Not far enough back. They're waving me on with like big arm motions. Like, keep going. 3,000 years. 5,000. 5,000 years. They're still going. Keep going, like way farther. 10,000 years. Hurry it up. 20,000 years. 40,000 years. 80,000 years. 160,000 years. 320,000 years. 640,000 years. Wow! Huge bluebells back here. I've never seen bluebells this size. It looks like a bluebell the size of the Biosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Just click this puppy upward, right? You know what they just burned? The dry bluebells. Which bluebells were dry?
The ones who wouldn't put their heads up.
The ones who wouldn't put their heads up. So once more, the flames coming through. Whoa! Wow, it's like a forest fire. It just went whoosh! Or like burning a Christmas tree. Whoosh! Okay, so once again, the rains will fall. We can put our heads up and catch them. So me too. Intending to put my head up right now. Them merging with the group of all the bluebells and choosing to turn up, to catch the living waters, to learn to live on eternal light. Giant hand is coming, picking flowers, picking flowers, picking bluebells that have their cups up. Bluebells becoming tulips. Bluebells becoming tulips. I hear the angels singing. There are those big installation pieces. They're starting to look a little bit alive. They don't look as much like statues.
Mm-hmm.
They look a little bit more like real bluebells turned tulips. They're starting to grow. Oh, we can tend them. We can tend them, right? We can help them grow.
Right.
We can draw up their channels. We can pulse the vortex. We can create fertile soil, fertile field. Creating the fertile field, we can do this. What we're doing, the guides say, what are you doing? We're making a fertile field. We're turning this trash pit into a fertile field so that the next civilization can grow in good soil, so that the one that comes after this one can grow in good soil. We're preparing the field for the next civilization. That's what we're doing.